Well, the February meeting of the Bremerton base of the United States Submarine Veterans Incorporated shall come to order.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
Finally, after a long time. Will you please rise with me and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our creed: to perpetuate the memory of our shipmates who gave their lives in the pursuit of their duties while serving their country, that their deeds and supreme sacrifice be a constant source of motivation towards greater accomplishment. Pledge loyalty and patriotism to the United States of America and to its Constitution. Let us toll the votes. USS Barbell, SS 316, lost February 4th, 1945, the loss of 81 officers and men on her 4th war patrol. Based on Japanese records, she was bombed near the southern entrance to the Palawan Passage. The day before, she reported surviving 3 depth charge attacks. USS Shark 1, SS 174, lost 11 February 1942 with the loss of 59 officers and men on her 1st war patrol. Shark was the first U.S. submarine sunk by enemy surface craft in the Pacific, most likely by depth charges. USS Amberjack, SS 219, lost 16 February 1943 with the loss of 72 officers and men on her 3rd war patrol. Off the ball, she was attacked by a Japanese patrol plane, a torpedo boat, and then depth charged by a subchaser. USS Grayback, SS 208, lost February 27, 1944, the loss of 80 officers and men on her 10th war patrol. She appears to have been caught on the surface in the East China Sea by a Japanese carrier plane whose bombs made a direct hit. During this patrol, she sank 4 ships, totaling 21,594 tons, and was tied for 11th in the number of ships sunk. USS Trout, lost February 29, 1944, with a loss of 81 officers and men on her 11th war patrol. She was sunk by escorts in the middle of the Philippines basin after sinking a passenger cargoman and damaging another in a convoy. She had carried out several notable special missions, including carrying over 2 tons of gold bullion out of Corregidor in February of 1942. As you know, we've lost several members of the base over the last year. I don't have the list right in front of me at the moment. I apologize for that. But while we take a moment of silence, let us remember our dearly departed shipmates. Eternal Father, we thank you for the heritage and liberty we enjoy as Americans, and for the privilege of having served in the submarine service to protect that liberty. We pray thy blessing and wisdom for our country's leaders. May they seek your guidance as they serve us and the United States. Currently, we remember those of our group who are sick, troubled, and bereaved. Place your healing hand upon their bodies and mind as we pray. Make us patient with our shipmates, wise in our deliberations, and bless us during this time together. We offer these prayers in your name. Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Everyone get enough to eat?
Yes.
There's still more donuts, please. I bought 3 dozen because I had no idea. I was guessing. So please eat donuts until you're tired of donuts. You got to get rid of them all. It's so good to see everyone in person. It has been, and there are any number of adjectives one could use to describe this past year, but lost, I think, is the best one to describe it. It has been an adventure, a challenge, and need I say, it's not over yet. I think there's still a lot of fallout yet to come. Who knows what the future holds with regards to events being able to go to things, those sort of things. And obviously we have a lot of members who were still not comfortable coming out, and that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. I'm glad to see those of you that are here, and those of you that are watching on the video, welcome as well. We've survived it. We haven't done a lot of things. I think, Dennis, is this the first money we've spent in a year?
Not really.
Yeah, we bought breakfast. I mean, we paid for some incidentals, but as a general rule of thumb, this is the first time we've gotten together in a year, and it's been a great thing. I don't have any business for you today. I wanted to table that because I wanted us to have a time of just fellowship, friendship, remembering, telling sea stories, enjoying ourselves. Steve and I have talked on many occasions of the need to just sit down, have a drink with somebody from across the table, and see them smile. That has been something that I have personally missed immensely when we are sitting anywhere. You know, you're behind this, you can't see anything. My rabbi was talking to us this week about some other stuff that had to do with God, but one of the things we were talking about was communication. And 55% of human communication is seeing the facial expressions, and we weren't able to do that. I'm glad we're here. I'm excited about this. The past year for me has been a learning experience in a lot of ways, because as Jim and I were talking about, there was no plan for this. We had no idea what we were supposed to do. I will tell you that just under a year ago, when we were shut down, I was sitting at my desk in my office going, I don't know what to do. I was getting over one of the worst illnesses I'd ever had, and I was a little bit, nobody knew. Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be a year? I will tell you that at the time, I was working for a grocery delivery company, and we weren't supposed to talk about this at the time, but they had issued us government papers to travel. So we knew it was pretty serious, but we didn't know how serious. And I remember sitting at the desk, and it just hit me one day, we can do this on video. There's no reason not to. Sent off a bunch of emails. I even emailed the national commander saying, hey, you want to be a part of this? He didn't, for reasons that make sense retroactively, but it was an interesting experience. And I think for me, the biggest part of that has been the tolling of the boats videos, putting that together. I was talking the other day about, someone once said to me, you've seen one submarine, you've seen them all. Now, I don't believe that, but, people that, they all look the same, blah, blah, blah. Putting those videos together, pulling the pictures of the boats was easy, interesting, and made sense. About 3 months into it, somehow or another, I got onto, I wonder if there's any pictures of the crew. And I started looking for pictures of the crewmen. And that really made it different to me. This past month, I was putting it together because we didn't know if we were going to or not, so we actually did one for this month that is available on our YouTube site if you want to see it. But there was one of the pictures of the crew that kind of caught me short. It was a picture of a guy by the name of Lewis Shane Jr. It was on his commissioning day from the Naval Academy, Annapolis, in 1926. It was also his wedding day. And it was a picture of him and his wife, and you can imagine how happy they were. And the reason it caught my attention was two reasons. One, Lewis Shane Jr. was from Tacoma. He's from our area. He grew up here. He was noted as being a Pacific Northwesterner. He would have been right at home here. Obviously, the South Sound base doesn't exist anymore, but he would have been a part of us. He would have sat in this room with us, had coffee, told his sea stories, and probably entertained us with his voice. He was a noted singer. He was a member at the Naval Academy of something called the Radiator Club. Any of you ever heard of that? You know what that is? So, if you're all familiar with the Naval Academy, you know that there's lots of athletes. There's people that play football, there's people that run track, there's people that play basketball, there's David Robinsons and Keenan Reynoldses and all. The Radiator Club are those guys that are just the couch potatoes. They don't do anything. They just hang out and don't participate in sports at all. He was a noted member of that, and he loved to dance. And in this picture of he and his wife, it said in the caption that after he passed, she never remarried. And that she believed for 20 years that he was alive on some deserted island in the South Pacific waiting for someone to pick him up. And that kind of caught me short. And so I started looking at the crew members of USS Shark, particularly because they're from our area, their captain. It's a remarkable story. His father, Louis Shane's father, was a classmate, well-known Navy captain in the Tacoma area, was a classmate of Admiral Thomas Hart, who was the commander of the Asiatic Fleet out of the Philippines at the start of World War II. When Louis Shane took command of the Shark, it was assigned to the Asiatic Fleet. So I imagine that they knew each other. I don't know how well, but it was probably a joyful reunion. And it was Shark that was sent on the 19th of December, 1941, to rescue Thomas Hart and his staff and take them back to Java, where he could go on to command the Abda Fleet, which has gone down in glorious histories of the Navy. Shark disappeared, as you know, after a few days at sea thereafter. She disappeared. The last we heard from her was on February 8th. She described having attacked the cargo ship and then surviving the depth charging. And after that, we've never heard from her. She's one of the lost 52. She's never actually been found, and no one actually knows where she is. But to her dying day, Marjorie Shane believed that they were alive somewhere on an island, waiting to be rescued. Some years later, in 1961, she was the sponsor of the Shark SSN 591. And Louis Shane's classmate and good friend at the Naval Academy, Admiral James S. Russell, gave the commissioning speech that put Shark, the SSN, into commission. One of the things he reminded us of in that speech is that these names carrying forward remind us of those who served and those who fell. And I discovered this on the same day that the Navy announced new names for submarines, which once again are carrying forward those proud names that have served for so long in our Navy. It's interesting, there's other stories that I discovered in that crew that I'm not going to bore you with today, but you need to understand, when you go and you look at those pictures of those men, and you stare into their eyes over the course of 100 years, that's the legacy that we carry forward. Those are the men we're talking about, supreme sacrifice, and constant motivation. Those are the men who blazed the trail that we followed. They had their stories, we have ours, and we'll do our best, hopefully now that we can start doing it again, to carry that tradition forward. It's really all I have for today. I will open it up for good of the order. If anybody wants to tell a sea story, if anybody wants to chat, somebody wants to say hello. Hello. That's what I want to hear. And then after a set time, we'll dismiss, but you are welcome to stay as long as you'd like. Eat donuts, eat breakfast, chit-chat. John has some stuff for sale that he's got out there. Did you sell it all yet?
No, but we got about half of it.
You got about half of it sold. There's stuff out there you can buy. It's pretty cheap, so not cheaply made, but cheap, inexpensive. And there are people watching on video, so everybody wave to the camera. Say hi. I know Eileen's watching.
Yeah, no, I made sure I was not in the way.
I aimed it. Yeah, I know Eileen is there, and as most of you know, she's due here pretty soon, so keep her in your our vice command. I'm the first commander in history that's been able to say that. My vice commander is expecting any moment now. And as many of you know, my wife's an L&D nurse at the Naval Hospital, so I'm sure I'll hear about it as soon as it happens. And with that, the floor is open. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you are in the submarine league, Navy submarine league, but they've been partnering with a lot of the different organizations. And last Wednesday they had the Master Chief of the Navy here talking, and I don't know that our subgroup here has actually been a part of this, although we should be, because the 23rd they're going to have a boat in opening, the museum park opening in Pearl. 24th, for all you nukes, the CEO of the Navy Nuclear Power Training Command is going to be speaking. It's sponsored by the Navy Submarine League of South Carolina. The third, the CO of the USS Washington is going to be on, let's say he's being sponsored by our own Pacific Northwest Submarine League. So, and then March 9th, we've got Rear Admiral Flight Concourse, our Group 9 commander, that's going to be on. And these are all on Zoom, so if you want the contact information, I can get it to the base commander and he can pass this on.
I actually have the email from the Navy Submarine League. We'll put that out in this week's email.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's for basically all of us guys that have taken part in this stuff, so. Anyway, I haven't seen much come from our base command on it, but I have been getting from the Navy League and the Submarine League these different events, so I think it's worth, at least some of them, hearing what happened, because the Mick, it was a pretty good speech we had last week.
Anyone else? Come on, I want to hear what's going on. Steve?
Yeah, I just want to mention Paul Gustafson. He's at home now. We did share his phone information. He does want to talk. He doesn't know where he's at or why he's there. He's 96 years old, and he'd love to hear from you. Just to say hi. And you're going to repeat yourself. You're going to laugh. He's going to laugh with you, but he really wants to hear from us. So if you have time, just give him a quick call. He'll ask you who you are a couple times, but he wants to hear from us. He still has.
It is Route 401 now.
He's in good spirits, and he's still fun to talk to, and he wants to hear from us.
You can't have visitors.
You can't have visitors, no. That's why. Give him a call.
My wife's got a Facebook account. I don't have one, but she's got one. And last night there was an entry on Facebook from our dog groomer, where our dog groomer said she'd been called an asshole yesterday. Well, I sent back to her and told her congratulations, because I've been called an asshole more than one time. And then I was reminded of, and we were talking about Ray Pitts here a few minutes ago, at Chiefs Club at Bangor, at one time we had a corner called Asshole Corner, and there was only specific individuals, Don Quinn, myself, and Ray Pitts, and others, who could sit in that corner. The bartender wouldn't let the rest of the people sit in it. You know, it's Asshole Corner, and so I was reminded of that. And then I told Don, I said, and yes, I had my own personalized stools.
Why am I not surprised? Don't believe a word of it.
That's been one of the hardest parts of this year, is losing people. And with Ray, he wasn't here. He was over in Yakima, I think, and
it happened fast.
And it happened really fast. And really, we never got any information. Losing Tom earlier in the year and going to that funeral, that was. I said then, that was really hard on me, because Tom and I had just really started to connect. And I loved sitting at soup downs next to him and just listening to him talk. He had now granted, I'm a boomer guy, I'm an 80s sailor, but he was talking about being under the ice on diesel boats. And I thought, are you people insane? But they did it. And he had some great stories. That one kind of hit me hard. And then we had Commander Olivet, I forget, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, who was not a member of our base, but he was a member down in California somewhere. And that was I don't want to call it a Charlie Foxtrot, getting that whole thing together, but it was like nobody knew what was happening. But when we got out there, it turned out to be a really, really nice event out in Port Angeles. And not a lot of us were able to go, but my son went with me to that. And that was just, it was really, to me, that was really meaningful to have my 10-year-old and then 9-year-old with me, to see something like that, especially at a time like this when people, you have every excuse in the world not to do something. And so losing a lot of people this year has been very hard. And I don't know what this next year is going to be. I really don't. I lost a very good shipmate of mine last month, and everything was on video. I mean, we weren't even permitted to go visit it. So it's been. I was willing to go to California just to do that, but they weren't going to let me in anyway. So there's that. Steve?
Yeah, I did get a Christmas card from Tom's wife, and she does want to be contacted if we start soup doubles.
Yes, and that's.
She will attend. So if we ever start for Friday soup doubles, we're going to make sure she gets called.
Yeah.
She wants to come see us again. She really enjoyed those two.
I think now that the restaurants are open, maybe we can probably start visiting that again. See what's going
Still
on.
limited to 5 people.
Yeah, it's part of the problem.
Five is this group.
Depends what bar you go to.
Yeah, it depends on where it is.
Card is not.
Yes, John.
Did everybody get into the 50-50? that wants it?
Go ahead, John. He's- Go ahead, John.
Well, I think everybody wants to hear this first.
Oh, okay. Is he drawing already?
No, you just got the cat. I got it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Now for your commercial message. Last time I visited the national office, Des handed me about 100 pounds of plaques, various submarines. They get sold on eBay eventually, and for our scholarship or whichever fund we ended up with. Bottom line is there's a lot of little touchy-feely good items out here on the table, a few of them left. And we're trying to get rid of those because I don't want to put something on eBay for $4 and then have all the trouble that goes with it. I did bring all the plaques with me, obviously, all the submarine plaques. But let me read off a list real quick here. If you were on one of the boats and you like the plaque, basically they're all bronze on hardwood backing like you've seen. So with that, I won't say USS every time. Sea Lion, Ohio, sold. Stimson, Edison, Lasky, Houston, Bernard, which Houston? Sam.
There's Big Houston and then there's a Sam.
Is it the same guy?
I'm gonna lose my place without this finger here. Bernard, Alaska, Pellaby, Tusk, Hayden, Toro, and then I have other ones like Squadron 1, Squadron 12, all kinds of other stuff that'll come up. But if you were on any of these boats or know somebody who wants a plaque very cheap, let me know. We're going to be putting them on eBay probably about $35 a piece plus shipping. You can have any one of these plaques for $20.
Oh, Sam Houston. Sam Houston. Mike Waldo.
Sam Houston. See me after that. Okay.
All right. Anybody else?
And just let everybody know, obviously, we were supposed to have the breakfast this week. Well, at the Elks, but we did it here and stuff, so.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, no problem. We are still reserved for next year at this time at the Elks. We still have a slot reserved for the picnic this summer in August. And the Christmas party is still reserved for us this year, too. So we didn't cancel or lose our spots up there at the Elks for any of that. And they do have a very big capacity up there, so I'm sure that if we decided if we wanted to do something, it would not be a problem putting it together, here in a month or two after we see how things are rolling and stuff too. So, but I just wanted to let everybody know that that stuff's still online for this year. We haven't changed it, and hopefully we'll still be able to get out and at least do a barbecue in August. That's outside. It should be fine.
I don't have to really use it.
Yeah. How much was it? 62? Yeah, it's 62. 62. So if everybody, you want to do the drawing up?
One more thing.
All right.
So just since we're plugging the Elks there, we have, I don't know how long we've met here at the Fleet Reserve. I wasn't here when we started meeting here, but I joined, so I'm now a member of the Fleet Reserve. If you're not a member of the Fleet Reserve, you should be. It's not very expensive, and as you can tell, they have good food and drinks. So, yeah.
And they have the sheet.
John's coffee, man, it's just crazy. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Say, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is.
Come on, Jerry.
Anybody want to talk football?
See, sorry?
Baseball?
Okay, see, sorry.
Sea stories?
When I was out in Pearl, I was division engineer for water plunger, flasher, and garfish. And some interesting things happened in there that you probably know about it. One of them goes around. I was living in Ebb Beach. Willie Spoon lived over there close to me. And I got a call from the division commander, and he said, Jerry, get your uniform on and get in here now. And I said, what's happening, Commander? And he says, God damn it, I told you to get your uniform on and get in here. So I went up to the office, and he said, your job, whether you want to do it or not, is to go out on the pier and tell all those people Christmas Eve from the guardfish that the boat's not coming in tonight. You can't tell them why. All you can tell them is that nobody's hurt, and there'll be no more news in the morning, probably on the headlines of the Hawaii paper. That was an interesting time.
And you lived through it, aren't you?
Very.
You're still here.
Man, I bet that was.
Okay, draw that ticket.
At least it wasn't cold if it was in Pearl. It's not like you're standing out in the rain and the snow or something if you were having to do it up here at Christmas.
My daughter complains, but it's 68.
I got a quick sea story. You know, listening to sea stories, they sometimes bring back memories. But several years ago, I rode my bike, my Harley Davidson, at the extreme four corners of the United States. It's called the Iron Button Ride. And I had a partner and my throttle cable. You know, Harleys don't break. But I put my throttle cable in Toledo, Ohio. And my riding partner had an uncle. He's not a submariner, but he says, I've got an uncle that lives here. Let's give him a call and see if we can spend the night. And I'll never forget his name. His name is Mel Reeder. And sure enough, he wanted us over there. And he told us, uncle, he says, hey, I've got a bubblehead, a submariner riding with me. We're riding around the United States. Bring them over. And Mel Reeder was a World War II combat smoke boat sailor. And I'll tell you the last at the end. The next morning, he made us steak and eggs. He retired as a chief cook. And he knew how to make steak and potatoes and all that stuff. Just the most delicious breakfast we had the next morning when we left. But he told me a story when he first went in the Navy. They assigned him, and doggone it, it's so old now I forget names. I have to check my journal, the name of the boat that it was on. But he got assigned to old diesel boat, new back then, and they headed out on war patrol. And Mel, being a junior man on board, he had the garbage detail. He had to come forward and, working in the galley, he had to bag up the garbage, weight it down, dump it over the side. Well, they surfaced, ventilated, do whatever diesel boats do on the surface, and then all of a sudden a plane came by, and they had an emergency dive, and they dove real quick. And then they did a head count. Seaman Reeder was missing. So they surfaced immediately, and there he is, swimming the deep hell, trying to stay on top of the water. They picked him up and got him back on board. He tells the story much better than I do, having lived it. But he got back below, and the captain said to him, Seaman Reeder, you will never, ever go topside on this boat again unless you have specific permission from me. And that was the Charlie Oscar talking to him right there. But telling that experience there, it was really something, and very, very memorable. And I'll take it with me the rest of my life. And these people back there during World War II and their combat service and things that they went through and what they did was just phenomenal. Anyway, that brought back a memory, and I wanted to share that with you. And the name I'll never forget, Mel Reeder, and started out as a basic enlistee and retired as a chief petty officer, as a cook in the Navy. Just quite a guy.
Navy cooks, Ralph.
Have a boat submerged underneath it.
Ralph, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I had kind of a funny story to tell. I was on a couple of diesel boats, but this admiral and his wife was in the engine room. And she says, she's not talking to me, she's kind of whispering to her husband, the admiral. And she says, she points at one of the diesels. She says, why do you think they need such large wash machines?
The admiral's wife.
Yeah, the admiral looked at me like, And it wasn't the General Motors, you know, these were Fairbanks, it was bad for them.
Gentlemen, it has been very nice to share with you. I look forward to being able to, and obviously when we get together next time, we'll do a more formal meeting, I guess. E-Board will meet on the first Saturday in March, whatever date that is, and I don't know off the top of my head. Looks like March the 6th at 0900. I believe we can go ahead and open that back up. We will continue, and unless there's some objection to it, I think we'll continue to make those available on Zoom for people that want to be a part of it that way. I think that's just going to be a part of our technology from now on. And so, unless somebody has some real objection to it, we will continue to do that. We'll probably continue to Facebook Live regular meetings as well for the same reason. For those of you that are watching, and there appear to be a significant number of people watching, glad you've been a part of this, and we missed you. And hopefully, as things get better, we can get more and more people together as more and more people get vaccinated. Hopefully, it'll improve. Chief of the boat, let us have our drawing.
All right, need $62 on the heavy draw.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
That's okay.
What if I draw my own?
That's fine.
Last chance. Last chance? No? All right. There you go.
All righty. Should I go put my glasses on? 324716.
Not me.
Wrong number.
7 what?
716.
716.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me put my
That
glasses
can't be right.
That's not right.
I'm not here.
It's 200 off what you were
What is
selling.
this? Do you want me to read that for you?
on. My glasses on. Hold on. God damn it.
Seven. He's got, Ralph's got it.
Ralph, Ralph Harris.
Ah,
You got it, Ralph? Read the number.
Who's got it?
Read the number.
Where are my glasses?
I don't know.
Here, read it.
You get one job.
716.
It's right here.
Congratulations, sir.
Hey, Ralph! Gary isn't happy. There you go. John Howard. Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey.
Gentlemen, let us close in prayer. Dear God, we are grateful for the privilege we have of meeting for a safe journey home. Guide us in our ways. Give us traveling mercies as we return to our homes and to our loved ones. And may the Lord bless and keep thee until we meet again.